Let's move on to how to really have fun. And again, I understand that for some people, this might feel forced right now. But again, it's also a matter of perspective. Fun is about losing yourself in enjoyment. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be complete, but it's absolutely possible. If you think about it, many situations for those of us, for example, who went through other either personal tragedies or larger crises, sometimes during wars, during moments that are so severe, people's laughter, people's love, people's need to come out and also find some lightness becomes that much more important. And sometimes it comes out even in funerals when people feel like it's so inappropriate and yet it's so natural. The body needs, the soul needs to balance out. And so if you're finding yourself in moments where sometimes you are just over this and other times you're laughing, don't feel bad or awkward. I would say nurture it especially when it feels natural. So the question is, what right now is going to help you disconnect, help you play, help you flow, and help you imagine? Think about the concept that play is defined as an activity that has no purpose other than enjoying it. It has no results. It has no other objectives other than the play itself, which is really hard for some of us who, especially surrounded in a world with belief systems where everything is about productivity, about results, about what you should do, something we'll talk about a lot more next week. Something that's very hard for us to say, I can just take time and do something that is just silly, is just fun, right? And the idea is absolutely consider the fact that we are doing just as much for ourselves in terms of improving our energy and our productivity when we are taking time off as we are when we're focusing. The other thing too is about imagination. Imagine those people who have been incarcerated, folks who have had accidents or through illness suddenly became incapacitated. And we're not talking for a measure of weeks or months. We're talking about for life or for very long periods of time. What keeps the soul going? Imagination, right? That's what kids are doing all the time. They used to need nothing more than a stick and a rock or a ball, and they got along with it. So the idea right now is, what things spark your imagination? Is that a kind of book? Is that a kind of game? The other day, we got into puzzling. I gave my sister credit for this because we used to do this a lot on our family vacations. And she the other day sent me a photo saying, this is what we're doing. We're puzzling, doing puzzles. And so I somehow found in our house a bunch of puzzles and I thought, oh, we're so tired. I'm not sure I feel it. And then my husband and I said, well, let's just put it out. He said, well, why don't you start and find the borders? So I did, really reluctantly because I was so tired. But before you know it, even though we could barely keep our eyes open, we got obsessed. We started putting it together. And then now it's like on the big table. And he said, no, don't cover it. Put it on the big dining table so that we can just see it. And lo and behold, no matter how tired we are, every once in a while, we're kind of like, oh, that one goes there, but it's a kind of small distraction, silly childhood distraction to help us realize that not everything is so serious. Not everything has to be so intense. So what are these healthy ways? That's the objective. What are these healthy ways that you can flow in an activity that is not about productivity, but is about play? Again, it's not about perfection. You don't have to be super into it. It's just start. And I think one of the important things also is do something a little bit new. A lot of us have our go-to ways for relaxing, for enjoying, and that's great. Most of those, I hope, or at least some of those, are going to still be able to serve you. But a lot of what happens when we're at home is that we also tap out our usual options because we don't usually have time to do so many things at home, right? And so the idea is, what new things can you do? Silly or seemingly stupid as they may be, just start. You don't like it? Okay, try another one. If you have kids or if you have pets, they can also very much help engage you. And so these are just different ways, right, to at least plant the seed of there could be something else going on right now than just the most immediate crisis. So what are these healthy forms of escape? Maybe you're going to start cooking not just to feed yourself, but maybe you're going to start looking for a new recipe if you can, There's many different ways to make spaghetti and tomato sauce, apparently. What talents and interests? Have you had, do you have, that you lost sight of because there wasn't time because of work, that now you say, maybe I'll learn to sew, or maybe I'll, pick up that guitar that's been sitting in the corner. Again, if we take it from a perspective of I have to achieve or I have to be as good as I was before, then it just kills the point. It's just sit with it for a little bit, see what comes out, right? Keep that window open. The other question is what brings you together with your loved ones, right? Maybe you had the typical things. Maybe a lot of those, which is understandable also in today's age, were virtual, tablets and the like. But maybe you have some of those board games sitting around, maybe there are conversations you can have with your kids. The great thing is that we have right now the internet, which those of us who are old enough knew there was a life before internet. And then it was about, question games and other things. So you can search easily. I think Amazon is still working. We ordered a little game the other day. Anything that seems interesting that doesn't have to cost a lot of money or is completely free, because a lot of libraries, resource centers are offering many options for free these days. Just take a little moment. Again, it doesn't mean you have to super get into it or pressure yourself about it. Just try. And laughter is one of the most amazing things for the soul. Who doesn't like to laugh? Oddly enough, research shows that while children laugh about 400 times a day, adults laugh something like 10 if we're lucky, which is sad, but true. And so what is it that allows them to laugh so easily? Because yes, children find wonder in things that we've already learned about as adults, but it's also because they so easily find the whimsical around them. And so is it that you're enjoying the memes that people are sending around? Is it that you just strike silly jokes? I always laugh with my husband. He's got this, what we call his typical Pettis humor, which is very silly. It's very childlike. Sometimes I roll my eyes, but I'm actually deeply grateful every time he cracks a joke, especially in the moments when we're taking ourselves too seriously. So these are some ways to consider how to just bring a little bit more fun, or a lot more fun, without expectation or pressure, but into the current circumstances.